Hoosier guy, and I have just bought a new truck, and I had a kit that it was from the Field and Stream. This is May of 2016. I've actually had that book forever. Honestly, in 2016, I had it, I saw it, I thought, hey, wow, that's got these super survival kits in here. This is cool. I want to read those. Well, lo and behold, it gets put on a pile. The pile keeps growing and the pile moves, and which I'm a pack rat, so I've kept them. Then during the quarantine of 2020, had a lot of time on my hands, so I couldn't go to work or nothing. And I started going back through all my magazines, and I come across this, and at that point in time, it's kind of like, oh wow, this kind of hits home. I mean, I've done a lot of different things, Boy Scouts, stuff like that. So I went in the process of making these kits. There's, I think, Field and Stream had 5 of them that they had made up. One was for, let's see here, backpack country, truck beat, truck chest, waterworks, the pocket protector. I think there was a deer camp companion, and so I made a couple of the others, and I'll do some videos on them maybe as well. But I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get all this stuff. I want to change it a little bit. I had a smaller truck bed. Now I had a 5.7. I've got a 6.4 now. But the, this big tote right here in the back of the truck and a 5.7 bed takes up quite a bit. So I've got different things I'll change up, and we may do some on that, because I'm going to do a camper setup on it, so it won't need everything in a big bin, because everything will already be in the truck. But what I thought I would do is I would go through their recommendation here. Granted, I didn't use his brands. There is a web page if you look on their site, and you find this. It's called, what did I say it was? The Truck Chest. The survival truck chest, survival kits. You should be able to find that. But with that going on, we're going to start with the parts that were in it, and I put them together. I did add a few other things besides what they'd had. Also, to let you know, I do have a set of sockets, wrenches, pliers, all of that in the front of the truck. I'm not really going to pull that out and bring it out here to show those as well, but I do have a tool kit just for minor repairs or anything goes on that I would need if I got stuck someplace and I needed to actually work on something. I can do it right then, and I've got a small amount of tools that I can do that with. So now, going back to the Field and Stream's wonderful article here. I'll set that there. So basically, they said Rubbermaid 24-gallon action packer, which that's what this is. And then, so for the number 1 thing on their list was repair. So they've got, which I went to Harbor Freight, bought the cheap stuff, but the JB Weld, and then I just used waterproof tape. It says hose repair tape. It says it'll stick to tough surfaces, so I'm kind of using that for that. I'm going to put these in here as I go through this. And that was 1. 2 wire hangers. You know what, if you have a muffler pops off, those are great, they work fine. Tie those in, get your pair of linesman's pliers, wrap it up, tighten it up, make it cinch it down. Big roll of duct tape. Now they said parachute cord. I went with number 36 bank line, 250 foot, and then I also got some jute twine. One of them, it was in a some hardware store. They just had these for like $2. So that's one's for like tying up your plants, and the other one's just basically your plain old jute. I went ahead and got those 2. You may not. So throw those in there, and then they say Fix-A-Flat, which I never got that. My tire guy's always giving me heck for that green slime or anything else. So that's the worst thing in the world. Which, granted, I guess if I got stuck someplace and that was the only thing that got me through, I'll be cussing myself for that. But the next thing was a tubeless tire repair kit. So if it's just a small hole, I can do the repair that way with a tire reamer and plugger. And then jumper cables, which I have one of those Stanley Fat Max power bank starters as well, but you know, it never hurts to have a spare set of jumper cables. And then, so you're out there, you're stuck, a couple freeze-dried meals, and a bag of jerky, which normally the jerky, I go buy it at the local farm store, you know, in pound bags. It's got an expiration date on it. I toss them in there, and then I check it periodically, and pull it out, put a new one in, and then eat that one. Then a gallon of drinking water. When I first started running with that, I had a milk crate. I put 4 gallons of milk of water in, and that first winter, I think after the first couple freezes, I had about maybe a half a gallon total out of all 4 of them, because they froze and expanded and broke and everything else, because they just slid around in the back of my truck. But I had them in a milk crate because I didn't want to put them in here, because I thought, well, you know, if it freezes, I don't want it to break and bust. But I do have one of those 2-quart canteens. We go farther down here, I do have a water filter in here, so if I can procure some water, I can filter it, and then I can store it. So I do have a container for some water, so bulk water. Now, I've got 2 of these 7x9 blue tarps. The one, set it back here, and then I use one all the time too. So I just got, you know, a lot of this stuff. I'll be honest with you. I went to like the Harbor Freights, and you know, got a lot of the things because, you know, the dude that wrote this article, I'm guessing probably had everything sent to him, so he could mark it up or whatever. I mean, I didn't have that kind of money to just drop that kind of cash on some of that stuff when you never, you know, I mean, I've had this in my truck for 2.5 years, and outside of the wire ties I've added onto it, and the flashlight and the raincoat, everything else pretty much you can see still sealed in packages. So that's kind of my reasoning there with not spending the big cash. So then the tarps, base plate compass. Yeah, I carry a compass, one of these that I got Army Navy store. So this stays up front. It doesn't actually stay in this. It's just a plain standard. So we do it that way. So I just use it instead. And then, like I said, it stays up front, so it's not really in this tote, but it is on the list. So it is always good, because if you're out in some place with service, no service, you will need to be able to know directions. So then we're getting unstuck. Gallon of kitty. It says a gallon bag of kitty litter. I don't have one of those. I do have the folding shovel, they say, but it's not really the folding shovel like they said. It was one of those Amazon knockoffs I bought probably 8 or 9 years ago. It's got like, you build it, you know, it's got the, and then that comes down, and then it's got 2 little other bars to give it the length. But now with that, you know, it's one of those survival shovels. With that, of course, I got the survival staff, which it's got 8 other bars. You can actually make a full-length shovel, so it's not just some little small shovel. I've never really tried it that way. Last year we were out fishing, me and my dad, and we was going down a really steep bank. He's a little older, and he wanted some footing, so I ran up. So I did use this. So I ran up, grabbed this out of the truck, came back down, and we made little steps so you could kind of get up off the bank from the river bank, from the river to the bank, and get up there, because it was a steep bank. So did use that too, I guess. So those help to get unstuck, digging your way out. Then the next thing they've got is recovery strap. Like I said, never used it. It's just a 2-foot 2-inch by 20-foot heavy-duty recovery strap. Breaking strength 18,000 pounds. And then a 2-ton cable puller. Whoo, those things were salty everywhere else. So I found that, once again, the Harbor Freight brand. And, you know, I got it out, checked it. It seemed like it was going to do what it's supposed to do, so hopefully I never have to use it. But if I do, it will be there. So that is recovery options. Then this doesn't stay in the box. This goes in the back of my seat in my truck. So ice scraper. Should always have one. You know, and you can pick them up to grocery stores, anywhere else. Just swing by someplace. Easy to get. Now they say a Savage Model 42 over and under. It's like a 22, 817 or a 22 Win Mag, and then a 410 barrel underneath. I'm not going to leave that in the back of my truck, so that's not in there. And then roadside flares. So I got a couple things of those. Just pick them up. That way you've got some flares if you need them. Now the next thing they say is a hand crank solar power charger. I don't have that. What I have is I've got one of these. I found it on Amazon. It's a Dr. Prepare little power bank. Got it last year. It seems to hold a charge for quite a while. And then on top of that, so, well, I don't have anything charged. So, well, then I went ahead and got the Top Solar power panels. So it's just one of these here that you fold out. It's got a nice little spots to plug in your stuff. It folds out, and then it will take a charge. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but that's what I use. And this has the cables and stuff in there that I can plug directly into this and charge this. And to be honest with you, that's the only way I've ever charged this, is when it has gotten low, I've taken it out, set it in the side yard, popped it in, and it's always, you know, I've always had enough to keep it charged. But these two don't stay in the box. These two stay up underneath the seat in the truck. Just so we've got those there. So that's why I don't have the hand crank. So we'll put those there, get those out of the way. And then I just put a latex gloves. You never know what you're going to get into. My wife's uncle one time was hauling a trailer back from Texas, had a flat tire on the trailer, and lo and behold, when he pulled over and stopped, he was on top of a dead possum. So pretty nasty, middle of the night, not want to have to change a tire, and then you got a possum you got to deal with too. Put some gloves on, you know, a little better. You don't feel like, you know, because who knows how long that thing has been sitting out there on the road. So anyway, latex gloves. Now this, they say, they had a 32-ounce stainless steel bottle. So I've got the Stanley Cook Kit, which this one is, I just basically made this for this truck, so it's never been used. Never really had to use it. Got a cup, which I'm sure if any of you have seen with the Stanley, whoops, you know, you got your little pot, you can boil some water, and then it's got a couple cups, and then you got that cup. So all that can set on a fire, open flame, and heat up. And if you do have to, if you can't do the water filter and you had to boil it, you got that. And then I just take what they call a Ranger band, which is basically a bike inner tube cut in 1/4-inch strips. Makes a really nice rubber band. I've heard it that way, so that kind of holds that together, keeps it from. And then we put that in there. So now I've got the freeze-dried meals. Then I got the water. I can dump, heat it up, dump it in there, and I can have freeze-dried milk. So I also got one of the little Boy Scouts camp skillets from years ago. Like I said, this is something, it sets in the truck, whether if I don't have anything else in there and I'm not prepared for nothing else, at least this stuff's in there. So this has got the bowl, the skillet, there's a cup in there. I've put a small set of utensils, put another little plastic utensil / spatula. I don't know how well that'll hold up on the heat. A couple things I've done with heat, it seems to be some of that plastic stuff will melt. So I've got that. That's an add-on outside of what they've got. So then they come up with a sleeping bag. I don't have a sleeping bag, I've got a wool blanket. And this stays in the truck as well. Up front in the truck. In the cab. So that's not in there. Then they say they've got a Camp Chef Striker from theirs. Mine, I used the Coleman one burner propane stove. Kind of the same thing. I mean, granted, now I've got to have the other containers to boil the water, where the Camp Chef, or it's like a jet boil. You can boil your water all right there. It's all contained that way. So I've got a little bit more than what that is. So, but we got that in there. And then they've got a Kershaw Paratang knife, which they didn't have that, but I found this Condor off of Amazon. So I added that to it instead of theirs. That was about the closest I come to what they had on there. I think the Kershaw was discontinued. Like I said, this was put out in 2016. I actually read the articles and got into it in 2020, and then basically spent the next year chasing stuff down, trying to find the best deal I could and figure out exactly what I would do. So then I found that. So we put that in there. Then they've got first aid kit. So I do have a first aid kit from Everlit. It was just a cheap one I bought years ago. I actually made a couple of my own now, but this is just one. It's got the Molly. I've got a Molly panel on the back of the truck seat. This actually goes in the back of the truck, and then it's just a rip away, and then all your stuff's in there. Your tourniquets and your band-aids and things. First aid is in that. Then they talk about the 2-liter Sawyer filtration system. I've just got the mini Sawyer with the filter, bags, a couple bags, plunger, directions and stuff, all in I just got a little mesh bag. I could throw it in there, and that way the whole water system stays together. And it is available for me to pull that out if I need to. Then the next thing they've got is a lighter and Yuko Titan Stormproof matches. So those are in there. Start your fires, whatever you need to with that. I just kind of drop them in there. Raincoat. So believe it or not, the raincoat they had on the article was like $350. I found this Columbia discounted raincoat for $25 on Amazon. Does the same thing. So be a little thrifty. That way you can get more things. And then, like I said, I wasn't going to spend that kind of money on something that sits in the back of my truck that I rarely pull anything out of it, or I haven't had to yet. Knock on wood, good Lord willing, it stays that way. And then the last thing was a Streamlight Waypoint rechargeable spotlight, 100,000 lumens. I found this one at Harbor Freight. It's got got a locking key, strobe, and then it's also got like a stand. You can put it up like that. Do it that way. And then it's got a couple, if you take some of your bank line, you can actually suspend it if you needed to, hang it if you needed to do it that way. And it's got, like I said, it's got a lock. And really this has been in here for, I think the last time I charged it was over a year ago. And you saw the light from that. So that is in there as well. So then, that's what their list had. a couple things I added on to mine. Wire ties. I just go buy a big 11-inch 100-piece bulk pack. Great to have. I've used them several times when we went out setting deer stands and things like that, trying to strap stuff down, putting it together. Been good. I found a couple Stanley crowbars, or Wonder bars, what they call them. So what is it? A 21-inch and a 12 3/4 inch. I put those in there. So now I had those tarps, and with the tarps, grommets come apart. I found a little grommet set, so I can actually replace a grommet if I need to, or add another one if I want to put it someplace else, or maybe it's not in the right spot. But everything's there to do a complete grommet installation for 1/2-inch grommet. Little cheap kit, not bad to have. With the bank line and everything else, my tarps, tent stakes. These are the cheapos. They're nothing fancy, but hopefully they'll stick in the ground and do the job. So those are in there. And with tent stakes, I went ahead and just bought a rubber mallet with the puller. $3.99. And then I also took a 3/8 75-foot camp poly rope. You never know. It's not bad. I think what it was, the rating on it, 300-pound working load. So I mean, yeah, you're not going to pull a whole bunch up with it or support, but it's not bad to have. And it fit in the tank. Bottle opener, just in case. You never know. Just a little cheapo bottle opener. That's an add-on. Then I grabbed a couple Coleman glow sticks. You never know. So pop them off. You know what to do with glow sticks. And then the last thing I come across I'd picked up at a rummage sale was this automotive transfer pump. It's a handheld pump. If I needed to pump gas out of another tank into my tank, vice versa, I'm able to do that. It's got 16-foot long hose, two 51-inch long, 1/2-inch diameter hoses. So just a little transfer pump. You never know. You might need it. And like I said before, the tools I keep up front. Screwdrivers, pliers, crescent wrenches, some hose clamps, ratchet straps. I've got all those in a compartment in the truck. So let me pull this around here. Put the lid on. All this stuff will go back in the truck. Ooh, I don't think I got it packed right. Hopefully this will work. So then put it down, snap it up, and that's my truck recovery kit right there. And I probably will change this up and it'll be a little different. I'm planning on getting a camper shell, doing some things in there where I can actually camp out of the back of my truck when I go hunting, fishing, or just go out messing around outdoors. So that's the plan now. So a lot of this really will take up too much space for the build that I want to do inside there. So these things will probably be stuck in drawers, other places, moved around a little bit. But until then, I will run with this. And then hopefully in about 6 to 8 weeks I'll have my shell on. I'll just start doing a build, and I will try to take some videos of that, and then we'll see how that goes on that. I'm not really for sure how that's going to work. But anyway, like I said, this was from, my idea was from Field & Stream, from a May 2016 article on super survival kits. If you go to their website and look them up, I believe you can still find them. There's like 5 of them in that group. And I've got a couple others, and I will probably at some point in time try to do those as well. So with that, hope you had a informational what do I want to say? Hopefully that informed you. Give you some ideas for your own little truck survival kit. With that, have a good evening. Get outside and enjoy the outdoors.